Hi, I'm Rayma.
And I'm Andrea.
And this is Mile High Murder. We are just slightly obsessed with true crime. We text each other when new missing persons cases are unfolding. We add each other to Facebook sleuth groups and definitely feel like we have solved the cases before anyone else. We aren't creepy, I promise.
I'm sorry. That was dumb.
It's fine, I'm just gonna laugh.
I'm ready, sorry.
I'm actually sorry. Andrea.
Yes.
It's Wednesday.
And
It's
December!
Yay!
I'm so excited. Christmas is my favorite. ever.
Why is it your favorite?
Everybody's jolly. There's Christmas lights and trees everywhere.
Yeah. I do like the Christmas lights.
The music. Home Alone is my favorite movie of all time.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's a good movie.
We've already watched it 5 times.
And it's only been December for 2 days now.
I don't care.
I mean, yeah.
It's my favorite.
It's
It is
awesome.
literally my favorite movie of all time.
It's so great. That's really funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. Well, it is jolly December, but I'm going to tell you a sad murder story.
I mean, that's why they're here.
Yeah, it's true. But this is a sad one because it involves a child.
No.
I know. I'm
Rayma.
sorry. I'm really sorry. Here's the thing. 2 people requested it in the past 2 weeks. So I figured
Okay.
we can make it happen for them. So thank you, Janelle and Gail, for requesting this case.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
This is the murder of Jakeob McKnight.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
I actually hadn't either, which is pretty
Where?
crazy. Lakewood.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
I don't know how I hadn't heard of it, but and it was in 1991.
Well, that makes, I mean, you were a baby and I didn't live here.
Right, but still, okay. As we go on,
Okay, go for it.
So Jakeob McKnight was a 10-year-old boy living in Lakewood, and he lived with his parents and his older brother Josh. In 1991, he was looking forward to starting 5th grade at Bear Creek Elementary School. I'm always like,
love his little
I don't
heart.
really remember how old, what grades. None of my kids are in school yet, so I'm
Right.
like, I don't remember.
So you're like
In
11.
5th grade, you're like 10, yeah.
10,
So
11.
That's
Yep.
crazy. He and Josh spent most of their summers hanging out and swimming and catching fish in Bear Valley Greenbelt, just about a mile from their apartment. And Jacob's parents described him as being a people person. He loved being outdoors, and he was so friendly that he would just talk to anyone. He talked to strangers all the time.
I was like that.
Yeah, were you?
Yeah, never met a stranger.
I could totally imagine that, actually. But because of that, his parents actually they knew that he needed kind of more stranger danger. So they actually had told him and his brother that they weren't allowed to hang out in this Greenbelt area without an adult around, because I think there had been they'd seen older people just hanging out there. And so they were just a little bit worried
just
about.
be alert.
Yeah.
Don't be hanging out.
Yeah. So without their parents' permission, they, on July 20th, Josh, his older brother, and 2 of his friends were swimming in a water hole. And that day, Jakeob wasn't with them, but that day, a young man with long, dark hair started hanging out with them. So his hair was to his waist, super long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Long hair.
Yeah. Started hanging out and swimming with them. And when he left, he asked if they could meet up again the next day. So
No,
these are just young
absolutely
kids
not.
that this guy that had long dark hair was in his 20s. So these are just kids that are cool, this guy's hanging out with us. They're not thinking anything, and this is
Right.
again 91.
91.
So they're just thinking, oh cool, let's hang out with this dude. So
Right.
they go to back the next day on July 21st, and Jakeob walked to the Greenbelt to meet up with Josh and the 2 other friends. And the 2 friends and his brother rode bikes there. So Jakeob was the only one without a bike.
Okay.
So when they got to the swimming hole, the same long-haired young man was there. This time he had 3 friends with him, 2 other young men and a young woman. They were riding bikes, and the long-haired man ditched his friends to join the kids swimming. One of the other men...
It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
definitely weird.
All right.
I'm not saying it's not weird. It's weird.
Okay.
One of the other men circled around on his bike while the women and the other young man went and sat on a... Sorry, this sounds confusing. Is it
No, I got it.
confusing?
Nope.
Okay.
Got it.
A woman and a man went and sat on a log,
Yep.
like 75 feet away.
Okay.
One of them circled around on his bike.
Got it.
And then the other one was swimming with them.
I got it.
So the kids do remember being a little weirded out by the long-haired man because he was really interested in Jakeob.
Ew.
He called
creepo.
him Angel Eyes, and he kept making remarks about how blue Jacob's eyes were and how beautiful they were, that they were the most beautiful eyes he'd ever seen. Yeah. Super creepy. And he actually said, too, he wanted to take a picture of his eyes to use them for a album cover because he was a part of a band.
Of course he was.
So
With that hair.
he made plans actually with Jakeob to meet 2 days later to take
He's
in the Greenbelt to
10.
take pictures of
No.
him. I know. Not okay.
Ugh.
Not okay. So about 30 minutes later, he hung out with them for about 30 minutes. He left with his friends, and the kids stayed there until 8:30 p.m. And then they decided to head home after it started getting dark. So Josh and the two friends on their bikes rode ahead of Jakeob. Jakeob, again, didn't
Right,
have a
no
bike.
bike.
So he walked alone. And before going home, Jakeob walked into a 7-Eleven that was just down the street from his house. And the female clerk there later told police that he was with a man that she described as having several earrings on his right ear and long dark hair. The two left the 7-Eleven together. When Josh got home, it was about 9:10 p.m. and his parents asked where Jakeob was. And they remember him saying, quote, "He's right behind me."
Oh my gosh.
So since it was so late, his dad, Gary, jumped in his car and drove the mile to the Greenbelt and back, just looking for Jakeob.
Right.
If he was on foot, he should have seen him. And right away, just not seeing him, it was dark. He should have been right behind his brother. They started searching for him. And they called the police because they couldn't find him. And the police and I think a group of people too started searching for him that night. And by the next morning, they had bloodhounds and 18 police officers searching the Greenbelt for him.
Gosh.
And then this was in July, and I think like usually in June and July, there's a lot of rainstorms in Colorado, and there was a big rainstorm that happened that day. And so I don't know. I think that kept them from being able to search as well. And like, I don't know if the bloodhounds weren't able to, if the scent,
Like track the scent. Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
it kind of was difficult for them. But in the midst of the rainstorm on July 22nd, a teen member of the Arapahoe Rescue Patrol found Jacob's body. It was lying underneath an uprooted tree trunk, and it was kind of close to the swimming hole that they had swam at, and his body was covered in leaves and grass. And he'd been stabbed 24 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whoa. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's super sad. So the media caught attention, this part's horrible, of that the body was found, and they reported it on the news, and
No.
that's how the McKnights found out
No.
that Jacob's body was found.
babies.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's horrible.
When police interviewed Josh and his friends, they all told detectives about the long-haired man who had swam with them that day. The same description as the man who was seen at the 7-Eleven. So they right away knew, like, this is
Right.
a person of interest. They drew up a sketch of a man and released a sketch of a man, described him as lanky with pimples on his face, several loop and stud earrings in his right ear, and long dark hair. They also described another man with him as the suspect. And this man had tattoos on his arms and had like reddish brown hair. And this was the other man that was on the bike.
Right.
So they canvassed the area asking if anyone had seen Jakeob with that man. It didn't take long for them to hear the name John Ramsey Felix Chen. So Felix is a nickname, I think. Felix,
Okay, got
in
it.
quotations. And he was 22-year-old, and he was an accused child molester. And then the man on the
Ew.
bike's name was Tom Judge. So they came up with their names pretty quickly. So because of Chen's record, he was seriously being looked into.
Yeah, especially all the creepo remarks he made about
Yeah.
Jakeob.
Yeah, totally.
Ugh, this guy's the worst.
In May 1991, Denver police arrested Chen for allegedly molesting a 9-year-old boy. Chen allegedly fondled the boy 3 times between August 1990 and February 1991. He was an acquaintance of the boy's older sister.
Oh.
But he had been released on a $5,000 bond on July 16th, 1991, which was just 5 days before Jakeob went missing.
Great.
Yeah. And then he also, in 1989, was convicted of selling LSD in a drug sting.
He's a good guy, though. Ugh.
Yeah. So when police brought Chen in for questioning on July 23rd, he admitted to police that he had spent at least 45 minutes swimming with the boys that day. Chen completely cooperated with the police, which is surprising to me. He even willingly gave them DNA samples and let them photograph his body for evidence.
Interesting.
Which is just kind of crazy. He also admitted to asking Jakeob to meet a few days later to take pictures of his eyes. However...
Sounds so creepy.
Yes. It's just weird. It's like,
it is.
oh, this is just normal. I just
Nope,
take pictures
it's not.
of
It's
random...
inappropriate.
It's not okay.
And weird. It's
Yeah.
weird.
So, but he did deny that he was at 7-Eleven with Jakeob. And so that part...
was a lie.
Yeah. And he said his story is that he left the park at 4:30 with his friends, and that his alibi for the time of the murder was that he was having dinner with his friends, and he was there until 10:30 p.m.
I mean, people can lie for you.
They can.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
On July 25th, police arrested Chen for violations of his release terms. So of the molestation of that 9-year-old. He wasn't supposed to be around any children. So he obviously admitted to the police he was. And so they arrested him for that. When police interviewed the other suspect, Tom Judge, they found out that he had some cognitive limitations because he'd been beaten with a lead pipe in a drug cell gone bad.
Oh, my.
3 years before that. So like everyone they were interviewing was like, yeah, he's not good with dates and times. So it's kind of like this, like, who knows what can really be used kind of thing.
Wow.
Judge did admit that Chen had like made kind of weird comments to Jakeob and that it was a little weird, but he was like, there's nothing sinister going on. Like it was,
No, there was. It was icky.
yeah. He just claimed that Chen was intrigued by Jakeob. So, his story was similar, that they left the park at 4:30 and had dinner with their friends. So they interviewed the 3 friends and the mother of one of the friends. And all of these friends are in their 20s, like 22, 23, 24-ish. They're all younger, but
Yeah.
they all gave similar accounts of that evening. Police continued to search for clues or anything that would contain DNA. They searched the 7-Eleven for like anything they could find. And they were just trying to narrow down the suspects, trying to figure out any link to this. So while investigating, a man named James David Delgado came forward and said he had seen a man running from the Greenbelt with bloody clothes that evening. That man matched the description of Tom Judge. However, Delgado had a rap sheet himself, and so investigators also looked into him as a suspect. He had been arrested over 21 times and had been acquitted at trial of first-degree murder in 1983.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but because of that information that came forward, Lakewood police filed a warrant to obtain Tom Judge's hair samples after writing a request that said they had reasonable grounds to believe Judge murdered McKnight. But Judge's lawyer would later claim that the Lakewood Police Department had harassed him. So
Tough.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So on those kinds of things piss me off when it's like, just don't, I don't know. Just
don't do that.
Just don't do that. Just don't do that. On August 19th, Judge and Goldman, which was one of the friends, asserted their Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination, and they refused to testify as alibi witnesses for the hearing against Chen.
Really?
Yeah. And then Judge and Chen also refused to testify at a grand jury hearing that was convened.
Interesting.
So I don't know how that all works. Like they can just like refuse, and they don't have like really anyone else, I guess, to testify. And so they just don't they can't really move forward with anything.
Whoa. That's annoying.
So Chen was released on a $50,000 bond on August 23rd, 1991.
Ugh.
And then Chief Deputy District Attorney Karen Steinhauser announced on December 10th, 1991 that she was dismissing the molestation charge against Chin.
No.
Because the mother of the 9-year-old didn't want her child to have to go through testifying in trial.
Oh.
Yeah. So it got dismissed. So.
I mean, I get it, but
Yeah. So police couldn't find any evidence that put Judge or Chin at the scene of the murder at the time of the murder. And so the case went cold.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All of this sucks.
Yeah. So right now, it does. It all sucks. So Tom Judge actually died of AIDS in 1997 after moving to Philadelphia. And then according to the Denver Post, which I'm sorry, I didn't say, but this is from the Denver Post, and I got some stuff from CBS4 as well. But on February 9th, 2010, a South Metro Drug Task Force agent issued a search warrant for Chin's home in Inglewood and confiscated a computer, 118 CDs, numerous USB devices with 7 gigabytes of memory, 148 floppy disks, 17 zip drives, cell phones, and various journals, according to the affidavit.
Whoa!
Authorities determined that the material included 38 pornographic pictures. The photographs depicted nude children, including a boy in a particular thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
enough.
investigators also found 8 videotapes containing child pornography.
I hate him.
Yeah. So a warrant for Chin's arrest was signed on August 16th. But he entered a plea agreement in which 2 felony child exploitation charges were dismissed in exchange for his guilty plea to a misdemeanor charge of sexual contact without consent.
So annoying.
So that's kind of where we're at. He's in prison right now.
Good.
He's going to be released soon.
Dang it.
Yeah. So this is still a cold case. They're still
that's
open
so crazy.
to hearing if anyone has any information. I mean, it was a while ago now, but
I mean,
that's why some of these people reached
almost
out
30 years
to
old.
us.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Some of these people reached out saying, like, maybe you can bring attention to this case and maybe someone might know something or someone's grandma or something.
So contact the Lakewood police.
Yeah. So if you have any information, you can contact their cold case hotline, Lakewood Police Department cold case hotline, and it's 303-987-7474. And
What a sad story.
yeah, they did the family put up there's 2 things. One is actually, I love it, but they put up a stone bench in that green belt that says Jacob's Pond on it.
Oh,
and then the
that's
other
neat.
thing they did, so the tree trunk he was found under is huge. It was like a huge tree trunk. And they went and they burned it. And
Good.
nobody the police wouldn't charge them for, even though it's like totally illegal that they did that, but they're like, it was just a reminder
Yeah.
of what happened. So
I'd look the other way too.
yeah, right.
Love their hearts.
So yeah,
What a sad story.
I know.
But I hope that
sorry.
they can figure this out.
I know. I really do too.
With DNA advancement, like, I mean, it's a season of justice.
Yeah. And that is something that they, in some of these news articles, they're talking about, like, trying to go back and finding some DNA, but a lot of the rain kind of swept some stuff away. And
Yeah,
so hopefully they have something that could link somebody to it.
I hope this is one of those ones that gets solved.
I agree.
I mean, I hope they're all solved, but you know what I mean.
Right. All of them. Every single one. Solve
All
them
of
all.
them. Yes.
Thanks for joining us every Wednesday for a new case, guys. If you are a fan of Mile High Murder, consider subscribing and writing a review and sharing with your friends. You can also follow us on Instagram at Mile High Murder Podcast or search for our discussion group on Facebook. We're always searching for Colorado cases to cover. If you have a case you're dying for us to share, send us an email at milehighmurderpodcast@gmail.com.